That is not the case. And I said whatever I was saying was my opinion. And I said, me, like, I'm not sold. Again, to Daria, to answer your question, I did not say he is the best candidate. The manifestos I asked for were from the previous candidates, not on this particular election. I know that on this particular election, people have checked out. Lastly, I don't want to make this a monologue or a lecture room or anything like that. Lastly, I want to say that can we stop making this revolution about what Kowino thinks and maybe what because if Kowino thinks that maybe streets is not the only way, then it's Kowino dividing the movement. Can we all try to make this movement successful in whatever way we can? Kama wewe unaweza through the streets, please explore that. Kama mwingine anaweza through civic education, do that. Kama mwingine anataka kuvaa MP, do that. Like, just do what can make revolution successful. Siku tutakuwa tumetoa must go kwa kiti, tukuje to celebrate wote. Can we just make it about that? Because tangu tukuje hapa imekuwa tu like about Kowino thinks this, Kowino thinks that, Kowino thinks this, Kowino thinks that, Kowino is supporting Raila, Kowino is supporting whoever. So can we stop making it about Kowino? Ukifungua space for Bish, come and tell people what we want people to do. Let those who agree with your side of the story, wenye wanataka maybe wafanye the streets way, waifanye the streets way. Sisi wenye tunafeel tunaweza ifanya maybe civic education way, tufanye. Wenye tunataka hata kuenda kwa space za usherati, watu waende. Like, let people do what can make the revolution successful in whichever way they can. So that is equal, like we have to go the one way. If we go one way, maybe atuta make. If we explore all possible options, maybe that is the way we'll make it. But tuache kukastigate watu just because I think we should go this way. Fabish thinks that now maybe I'm a sellout. Just because Fabish thinks the other way. Fabish, like the other way you were saying here, the other day you were saying here that Nani, anaitwa aje, Joseph Boynet works at State House. He gives the name of people to be abducted. Now, if I even ask you today, if you know this information, you should be alerting those people that are going to be abducted, because it means you know those people that are usually going to be abducted. Will you be a sellout now? Because if you have that sort of information in Amanisha, you have a very good source of information that in Afata equal alert, tomorrow Daria will be abducted. Now you tell Daria, they are coming for you. Have you ever done that? So let us not even castigate each other. Let's just do any possible way a revolution. Because everyone has their own source of intel. Now imagine your type of intel is straight from State House, that Joseph Boynet, former police IG, is working there and giving DCI and Kina Faruki Bet information ya kukidnap watu. If you can learn that sort of information, it means you can know who is going to be abducted even before they are abducted. Now, instead of maybe saying to form military to stop abductions, we can alert those people that are going to be abducted before they are abducted. We can go that way. This revolution will be successful in whichever way. So kila mtu afuate tu route yake, bora tuna fight for the same cause. I want Ruto out, you want Ruto out. Mambo na Raila, sawa, let Raila fail sasa. Nimegundua maybe when he fails, it will favor us even more. I've realized that. So I'm not in his bandwagon. Maybe nimebuy hiyo idea yenu. Maybe akianguka hiyo kiti, it will be good for Africa and good for Kenya. Thank you.
Fabish, allow me to kick in. Fabish, just 1 second. Just 2 minutes. Kowino, thank you so much for that. And really, Joe, because I'm just here for like 5 minutes, then I'll be back after 1 hour. This is what I wanted to ask the listeners. If I use the enemy's hand to catch the snake, does that make me a bad person? You know, can we all agree that we have the same motive, and our motive or end goal is to get rid of Ruto? See, the end sometimes does not justify the means. So we have to put that at the back of our mind. That's why I would always support anyone who is of the same opinion that we need to get Ruto out. Whether you are doing civic education, whether you are on the ground demonstrating, whatever it takes, whether you send a share or we fund Morara, at the end of the day, let's all agree and come to an agreement and unite against Ruto. If we can do this, then I think we can win this fight easily. Also, let's allow anyone to speak their mind. And Kowino, I like the part where you say that we should never underestimate the followers of Raila. Let's be realistic. Raila has a lot of followers. That's why I asked someone yesterday, and I asked them a very simple question, like, assuming The finance bill that was rejected on 25th June was brought in today as we speak with Raila in the government. What do you think would have happened differently? As much as we are saying that most of the demonstrators were organic, we have to also give credit a little bit that there is one guy in Kenya who has the monopoly of violence. And this guy has a lot of brigade. And we would always love Fabish to listen to his followers and try to convince them otherwise. I want to see what is this thing that we lack a movement that we can buy onto. See, as someone who is not too much religious, I would say that I try to borrow the good things across religions that work for me, and I try to get the logic behind it. If there's something good about Islam, I will pick 2 or 3 things. If there's something good in Christianity, I will pick that too. You understand my point? So by doing that, we come with a hybrid movement that after collecting all the data like we are doing, we have something that will form our ideology. Because going by what we have now, we are fighting siblings, but at the end of the day, we should come home and hug each other and be brothers. Let's not lose that aspect. Let's keep fighting for the same thing and never, never try to underestimate somebody's fight towards the common goal. Then we will have said that all of us, we are fighting against Ruto. Thank you so much. I'll be listening. And Fabish, it's all yours.
Thank you for that. Before I give Kabi, I agree what you are saying. And, Escovino always trying to be controversial. In as much as, he comes here, he talk of Raila, then he come here, he says it's not about me, it's not. But he was the one castigating those people that are going for protest. But now he's coming here. The reason why we call you out is like that. And when you talk of, yes, in these spaces, we get intel sometimes. Even the same intel was shared by Martha Karua and other people. So you cannot just tell me because we get intel and this and that. That is why I said, when you are trying to hide something and hiding yourself, behind something, it is always difficult for you to drive the point that you want to drive. And for people that saying Raila have supporters, the person that we are fighting even equally have supporters, but we don't care. And in fact, you have the highest supporters because supporters of Raila were 6.8. And the person we are fighting, they are 7 point something. So why do we think that now we can triumph the supporters of William Ruto and then we cannot triumph the supporters of Raila Odinga? So if you are still in this country and yet you still want to align yourself with personality, we don't even have that time of pacifying you. To let us be honest sometimes. The person that we are fighting is not a chief, is not a MCA. It's a president that was elected also by good number. But we are fighting him as individually. The supporters are getting to align themselves with the situation that is happening in the country. So if Ruto supporters are understanding what is happening in the country and staying aside, why would it be difficult for Raila supporters also to understand what is happening in the country and know that it is not about Raila, it is about them and their country? So we should stop seeing Raila as a demigod or as a kind of, like people who are saying Raila is a spirit or Raila is a ghost or whatever he is. He has supporters. For what now? What are you supporting for? People now need to support their lives and their children. Yeah, Calvin.
Okay, thank you very much, Bwana Fabicho and members. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you.
Yes, first of all, I feel very much disappointed the way we are making our speech because our speech is somehow is not helping this nation. We are here to help this nation. When I heard the speech of my brother Koweno talking about Raila as followers. I don't disagree with him on that, but I agree that just follow us. But right now, what is disturbing our brain is this country. Where will this country go to? Because if we want to hang on somebody's coat, and that somebody is also there fighting to get something which we know, all of us, we can't put our brain there. Number one, all of us, we must now combine our brains and we must find what is this country need of. We are in need of justice. We are in need of equitable share. We are in need of our better lives. So for this time, we should condemn a politics which cannot bring a tangible development to this country. We want a politics which can bring something on this country. Because right now what we are seeing in this country is politics of impunity, politics of just stamping, politics which even to describe where people are has gone. Huh? Huh? Ile siasa tulikuwa tunapiga kitambo imepita. Hii ni siasa sasa ya dijitali. Haifai tunapiga siasa ambayo haiwezi leta maendeleo. We need politics of development. So Mr. Koweno, please, I know nimejua nimekuchokoza, lakini let us talk reality. We are not here to hang on Raila's coat. We are not here to hang on Ruto's coat. We are here to hang on our constitution of this Republic of Kenya. That is what we want to hang on. Because we have seen these leaders are really failures. They're really failures. They have their own personal interests. They don't want development. Because when I compare the notes which Raila talked the other time, you compare the notes with the speech now he's delivering the right at this time, it's very different. So it tells you that these are the just same. We call it the birds of the same feathers. They're just flocking together. So we cannot hang our coats on those people. So what I can say is this: if you have not arranged yourself, these people on these spaces, if you have not arranged yourself, go and arrange yourself. We don't have candidates right now who is going to vie for the president. Put that your candidate on a table. Second to that, we want our constitution, constitution ought to be our constitution ought to be followed. Not the constitution which is favored some people. We want our constitution to be given respect. That is the problem we are facing in this country. So I ask all of you, wacheni kufuata watu. Kaeni na akili yenu vile mko na akili yenu. Hii Kenya tumechoka na hii Kenya sana. Hata Kenya hii kama ningebadilishwa ID, ningetoka kwa hii Kenya, ningeenda kwa nchi fulani. Kwa maana ID yangu ilivyoandikwa Kenya, itabidi nikae kwa Kenya. Lakini tukae watu ambao wanajua demokrasia ni nini. What is democracy? Democracy is not about somebody. Democracy is the will of people. You do what you desire. But hakuna haja ya kujipambe na yale ambayo haiwezi kutusaidia. Kama mnataka kuorganize military, hiyo ni haki yenu. Lakini unaorganize kwa wale ambao wanakudefend. Lakini it is your right in the constitution that the government must give you a protection when you are demonstrating. It is in the constitution of Kenya. Sio asiana wanada kidnap tena. That is illegal. So that is my point. Nikikosea mtu nimeomba msamaha, lakini sijaona nimekosea mtu. Hata Mungu ameona nimesema tu ukweli. Asanteni sana. Kwane space boroka tumiria mbongenye space. Pesa nyolo yomiria mbongenye.
Thank you. Mau.
Yes, good evening, Fabish and everyone. I'm elated by the discussion that is ongoing. You know, it is always good to say the truth. But indeed, there is what some of us feels, and there is what you may feel as a person, which might contradict others or other feelings. You know, I don't understand why we keep on castigating somebody's opinion, and I don't understand why we always want to see the mini me in somebody else. You know, in other words, why would I like my character to be seen in somebody else? It's always something that keeps bothering me. If you think that your way is the only way, then it tells me that then you are a kind of a dictator. You know, there is no way we can stick to a single. There is no way we can align ourselves to a single opinion, a single way of thought. The reason why we are unique is because we can reason differently, argue differently, and give divergent opinions. Those who are saying yesterday was not a success are only doing so to validate their opinion. Those who are saying that we should not call for maandamano, I don't think they are genuine in their call. Why yesterday was indeed a success. For those who are around, they saw the tension that was there. The reason why even Mr. Ruto had to act the way he's now acting is because of the push by the general citizenry. We keep on calling for accountability, maandamano, either on the street, on Twitter, on Facebook, and even in the courts of law. And as you can understand, as we speak, there are several cases that are in court that has been sponsored by some of us who are still on these spaces. So we have to, and this is what I always keep on advocating, that let's continue pushing for this one singular goal, that we want good leadership. I got to hear one saying that we require Ruto out. Yes, we require Ruto out, but also we require somebody who is going to steer this country forward. And we don't want somebody who is going to come there as a cover-up. The reason why I've been always against Gachagua, Uhuru, and the ideologies, and the reason why I was so much perturbed and disturbed by the behavior and action of the people of Embu last weekend is because they are so gullible to be duped that what was happening to Gachagua is genuine. And now they want to validate and, bring something, bring sympathy there. I also saw them applauding the former president, who to me lied to Kenyans, and still Kenyans don't learn. I said here, if he was genuinely supporting Raila, he was supposed, and if genuinely if genuinely knew that Raila was the best person, he was supposed to sponsor a candidate in Central Kenya, a candidate who is going to get vote. Central Kenya and Mount Kenya in general was Ruto's stronghold. Any vote that could have gone to any other candidate was weakening Ruto. So if he was to do that, definitely Raila could have won. And you saw the margin with which Ruto won with. So Uhuru never supported Raila directly. He was doing so, he was supporting Ruto indirectly. Number two, and I come from Mount Kenya, I'm telling you that there is no way, and I state this with a lot of affirmation and conviction, that there is no way Kenyans from that region will ever again wait to be given direction. The people of Mount Kenya want to preserve their interest, and their interest is in business. Having said so, there is no reason as to why Mlima or people from Mount Kenya would like to follow anybody who is leading them to somebody who is going not to consider the so many atrocities that happened in previous regimes. We are talking of the killings. We are talking of the lootings from Moi, Kibaki, Uhuru, and now the current regime. Looting happening right, left, center. Killings happening from our children to our women. You could see all manner of evils happening, but that is secondary to the ruling class. And that is why, as we fight and look for somebody who will steer us after this debacle or shenaniganism that we have, we need somebody who is going to bite the bullet and hold all those who have been ahead of him or her accountable. Because it is only that we are going to get our Kenya in the right direction. I am afraid because that can only happen through a revolution, because the candidates that we keep on giving or presenting unto ourselves don't don't qualify to those standards that they can be able to hold the politicians and the leaders that have been ahead of them accountable. Always, every time there is an election, you saw during the transition of Kibaki to Uhuru, there were some dubious other deals. And eventually we got to learn that the election was stolen. Look at now what happened during the transition of Uhuru to Ruto. Again, similar thing. Similar thing. So what am I saying? That these people will always work in a way to bring an individual who is going to cover and take care of their deals and ordeals, things that they have done in their regimes and things that they are going to do in the current regime. So, fellow Kenyans, we have to be very observant, alert, vigilant as we ventilate this important matter ahead of us, and as we, interview the right candidate who is going to take the mantle after we get rid with Ruto. We need somebody who is above board. Somebody who is above board, somebody who is going to get us at least where we want, because we all know that we need good governance. And those who keep on asking us that what next, the next is that we want good governance. Whoever is going to take over, it doesn't matter hata kama ni jeshi, even if it's an army, whether if they are going to give us good education, affordable education, good medicines, medical services, and affordable health care, security to our nation, security to our kids, security to ourselves. As long as we are going to get that particular person, then we are good to go. But if we keep on circumnavigating around the same aspect of things that are bedeviling us as a nation, and still get glued to our kingsmen, then and tribesmen, then we'll go nowhere. I will attack anybody who is trying to pursue a narrative that it is only a Kikuyu or a Kalenjin who is supposed to lead this nation. I always attack that we require a kingship or a kingmaker. Anytime we require to come up with a movement that is led by ideologies, facts, and action. That is what we need as a citizenry. Thank you, Fabish. I wish to learn.
Thank you, Mau Mau. So we go to Nicholas, then Lyson.
Good evening, Kenya. I will be honest with every one of us in this place today. Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to speak to the space. It's quite a long time since I once joined one of these places to give out my mind. But about Ruto will lose elections, there's something about Kenyans that I don't think is going to change anytime soon. And that might complicate the desire that anyone will want to vote Ruto out. And just follow me in this analogy. Let us be truthful. When it will come to the time of voting, we will vote tribally, as we have always done. The political class will spread the Mutuyet narrative into our mind in whatever local setups we are in, or wherever you are, wherever you are, whichever place you are going to vote according to your tribe, according to the political directive you have been given by whoever is the point man of your tribe. That's how Kenyans have been voting. That's how they're going to vote, and that's how they'll be voting in future voting seasons. So about Ruto will lose is something that I don't think can happen unless we have a change in mind, a change of mindset about how we vote and who we vote. If we need people like Ruto to lose elections, people like him, by saying people like him, I mean people who would say anything to earn empathy and sympathy from the naive Kenyans, naive Wamama, naive youth, and naive villagers down there. People who know how to dramatize and earn sympathy from them. People like him. You know what they did with Uhuru in their case, with the head? They used it to earn empathy and sympathy, and that's how they amassed some votes. He used sympathy, he used the sympathy attracting theatrics to play victim in the circumstances of the said handshake government, and he earned most of votes because he was being sympathized with. Another Ruto type kind of politicians are those who say anything to earn a vote. They'll promise anything to earn a vote. And they know that we are naive Kenyans. We don't think through anything statement that is said. And we follow naively anyone that can entice us with words. Another Ruto type of leaders and politicians that can still go ahead and vote are those that buy our votes. Think a minute about somebody who uses 60 million to earn an elected position of an MP, and somebody who uses up to 10 billion, even over, to earn the presidential election. If you calculate the 5 years with the salary, it does not make sense. But we vote people based on how much we are going to spend on our pockets as handouts. So people are willing to spend money. People are willing to lie. People are willing to play the empathy games on our psychology. Are people that we are going to vote. So if somebody is going to tell me how Ruto will lose, then I cannot take him seriously because he's the type we always vote. We don't think through what they say. We judge a potential winner according to how much he's spending on us. You see, this guy even bought the church. This guy bought everybody, bought every opinion leader. He bought typically every political influencer in the country to his side. He worked so hard to buy people. He brought people into rallies, used money. Those are the people we are going to vote in. So if we want somebody like Ruto to lose the election, we must first of all lose our mindset of how we judge a leader, how we see somebody who can govern, how we, you see, it cannot just work. Because with the same Kenya I know, Ruto is now taking his foot off the mountain towards the lake. And everybody knows what I mean by that. With the lake and the Rift Valley, and definitely, if he still plays by the books he's trying to play with, then you're going to have the coast entirely, Western Kenya entirely. Based on how we always vote, he will have those. Then how will he lose? So me coming into this place this evening is not to discourage you on your perception or on your belief that you can be voted out. Of course, anybody can be voted out. if a miracle happens that will change our mindset. But from now henceforth, I said, and I have always been saying, in any space I have spoken about, I have spoken in earlier, that it is not the right focus on who shall win or shall not win. Guys, can we focus on something that can work out better for us in the future? About who we can vote in or vote out, they're still going to end up messing us up. Moi messed us up after Kenyatta. Kibaki tried. Kibaki's grand coalition government, the government that came in after the post-election violence, was a bit better with us because it was a government of self-check. This side trying to outsmart this other side. It was a government of accountability within itself. But whatever happened in the second term of Kibaki, first term of Uhuru Kenyatta, second term of Uhuru Kenyatta, first term of Ruto right now, is a mess. And no one can write home anything good about it. So my point is, anybody that shall come into power, guys, will still mess us up, provided we have the rotten policies of governance in place. Right now, we should not be focusing on who will lose or win elections in 2027. No. Can we call for a constitutional review? And can we call on sanity in the judiciary and enforcement of laws of Kenya? Can we first of all tighten this Constitution 2010 that has loose ends that anybody that gets into power gets to overuse against us? I'm still wondering why Senator Nyonka recently, just weeks ago, claimed that 71 million gets into State House every day from the Treasury. Who gives State House power to allocate funds like that to it? Who gives the presidency the powers to hire people in the name of advisors in excess of hundreds? Last the reports were that the deputy president that was just impeached had over 100 advisors. Because we all know that the president allocated the offices that are unconstitutional. We shouldn't be having office of the first lady in the first place. We shouldn't be having office of the first daughter. We shouldn't be having office of prime cabinet secretary and office of the fourth of the prime cabinet secretary. Those are offices that I don't know the powers that the president gets to create such offices. It's the constitution that gives. We need a constitution that restricts powers of the president. It should be written, the do's and the don'ts should be clear in the constitution so that no one has the powers to erroneously allocate funds and create offices that are not beneficial to us. We should check into that first before we go into who should lose and who should win. Secondly, we should check into Article 104, it's Section 2, I think, that gives the MPs powers to create legislation on terms in which they should be called out of the office by the people. Calling out an MP, recalling an MP, is more difficult than recalling a president. Why? Because of Constitution 2010 that gives it. We should check into that first so that we can recall these MPs that are so incompetent to us. We should also make corruption a capital offense in this country. We should also make voter bribery and handouts during campaigns a capital offense in this country if we need to save situations. We must be in a position to arrest and nullify the candidatures of politicians who line up people for handouts during campaigns. If we need to change anything in this country, let us first of all tighten the constitution. It has a lot of loose ends. It has a lot of loose ends. And bring sanity in the judiciary such that the constitution can be implemented perfectly. We should also check into the reason as to why State House alone in every financial year spends almost equivalent amount of allocation to all the 47 counties in the country. How can just office of the president, State House, spend over 400 billion when All the 47 countries are just struggling to be given a similar amount. I mean, is it even logical? That is just one office. That's just one residence hosting a president. Why should you be spending over 400 billions per year in the State House when counties that should be running on devolution are struggling to be approved a similar amount? The Constitution has a problem. If we are not going to speak about such things and still want to speak about who should lose, who should win, okay, Ruto lose, Ruto win, what changes? The next president comes, maybe, God willing, he loses. Then we have somebody else. He still gets the powers Ruto did have. He still gets the powers Uhuru and Ruto had previously. He still gets the powers that were there, that are given by the Constitution, and nothing moves on. They still exploit it. Right now, we have a country whereby whoever gets into power, and these people, it is always their turn to eat, not to change anything, not to do anything for us. It's always their turn to eat. This government that is in place, the cabinet secretaries that were shuffled and some of them laid off. We remember just months into office, they are there in the television stations showing us what they have of a watch, what they have of a shoe, what they have of a shirt, of a suit. I mean, reports are that some of them running into Dubai, billions of money be getting arrested there. Some are investing in Uganda, some are investing in Tanzania, some are investing in England. Billions of money every day. Last week, reports were from the Treasury that Kenyans are losing 2 billion every day into the hands of graft. What are we doing about it? If we can not speak about corruption being a capital offense and still speculate how Ruto will lose or will win, my friends, we're not speaking about the right thing we should be speaking about. And we are wasting time. Right now, we must push for constitutional reform. We must push for capital offenses to be made of corruption. I think I'll rest it there. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Nicholas, thank you for your submission. Let me get this chance to say hello to everybody on speaker, Fabish host, Daria, Lyson, Japonjo, Mzalendo, Nicholas, Wanjiru. Hello, everybody, and the rest of the listeners. At this point, I think Lyson was next. Go to him, and then Mzalendo. I see your hand is up, but if you don't mind waiting, Lyson speaks next, and then it's going to be you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, co-host. I think the previous speaker, was it Nicholas? I have listened to you, but you've taken us deep in 3 phases: whining, pessimism, and finally you have come up with your proposal on how to handle it. Let me start with the whining. You have been all of us have gone through that phase when this Mandamano started, and we have been whining. So the whining of saying what is not working, what is not whining, that is okay. It's acceptable. The pessimism that nothing can be happen, I think that's self-defeatist, because we are very positive, and that's why we're in these spaces and we're spending time. We are here because we believe we can remove Ruto, the same way we voted him in, the same way those who prayed, the same way those who campaigned for him campaigned, and we can remove him because we have all the reasons to believe he can be removed through constitutional law and constitutional manners. The third thing you've said about your roadmap for first of all, that we must deal with a constitutional review and removing MP. I want just to excite you by telling you, we are not, it's not that we don't know that is also a priority area. We are also trying to think of what can be done now in a way to keep pressure to Ruto until we either have to in 2027, or if possible, have him surrender to the pressure earlier. The reason why I'm telling you that is because you're speaking about having a constitutional review. That's another monster. Do we have an IBC to conduct the constitutional review? We don't even have an IBC. So how can we start thinking about crossing the bridge? And Ruto deliberately is using those tactics. And you have said very well, he's using political tactics and delays and tribal cards, of which we know. But how do we start talking about judicial reforms? Yet already all the judiciary is in his pocket. You saw what happened in the Gachagua case. They met at night. They did that. How can we as citizens be able to remove that judiciary without mandamano? What is the legal ways for us as citizens of Kenya now to remove the judiciary? How can we do a constitutional review without collecting signatures of millions and them being verified by IBC for us even to do that reform of we are talking about for us to win Ruto? So I am not trying to disagree with what you're saying, but I'm just telling you, we're in such a mess as a country, so that some of the ideas that we may be having, like those ones, cannot work. They are not practical. In other words, what we've been talking about here. Because already there are enough the chess has already been laid, so we can only topple the table and call for a fresh game, or continue playing in a chess game where all of us are in a checkmate. So in my submission, and it's good you have ended with a proposal, is we have also wasted 4 hours here talking about useless things, personalities, who has done what. Guys, let's continue focusing on this kind of a discussion with what strategies can we employ now. One of the things that is working and the things that are not working, we can drop them or enhance them and move forward. One of the things that I want to encourage all of us is working is the online warfare. Nobody should come and tell us through online we cannot achieve much. Now put there on Jumbo Trail, there's an organization that does the most corrupt persons in the world. It's up there. You can take a moment. You can fill in. It's always good for Ruto to be featuring in all the negatives in the world, because we must keep him the world map as an anarchist, a looter, and we must deconstruct him in the world stage so that we continue usurping his credibility that he had tried to create in the first year by having almost 100 trips in 1 year. So that is working. So the whole online warfare must go. I think the next thing we'll be talking about right now is what is the next hashtag? Now that we are done with the Dani, what is the next thing that we need to put collectively that everybody can participate on now? Because some of these things that we are trying to say, like constitutional review and what, are things that require some sort of professionals, some sort of order, and they're not easy. So that may require a small group initiative, a set of lawyers, a set of academias. Nicholas can take up the challenge and say, what is the formulas we can use? Because we can't use parliament. We have evaluated that. All the parliamentarians have been jumping how high whenever Ruto requires them to applaud. You remember the other time when, after Mandamano, when Ruto said he has dissolved the cabinet, they were clapping behind him. Before that, they were saying the bill is okay. So we don't have a parliament, in essence, that can remove Ruto, and that is a constitutional way. The other way is through Katiba. We don't have an IBC. So do we start with lobbying for an IBC now, of which Ruto and Raila will have control? Or what do we do? So those are things that may require a bit of technical. Why we're in these spaces is probably to help the smaller groups can be able to be coming with something more concrete. The issues like the ones you've raised may require some technical input from professionals. If that is probably organized, and a few of us or a few of you can organize and bring it as a proposal to the multitude or to the many of us who are not very conversant with deeper things like those ones, then we can evaluate and give us a tagline we can push, because most of us here, the best thing we have is a phone and a constituency of 10 or 5 friends or 100 or 1,000. We can influence for the movement. So I'll encourage that we try to look for things that can work for the majority of us. Those are things that are bordering civic education on particular sects, if it's femicide, if we are talking about voter registration or taking IDs, on issues like, for example, that require the masses to participate. Those specialized attempts or proposals may have their own challenges. We know Third Way Alliance or Korokot tried Punguza Mzigo initiative. After collecting signatures, I think in 24 counties or something like that, 25 counties, and already IBC struck off, said half of them were fake signatures. So Raila Odinga himself also tried to do a Katiba change. It never works. And those are very difficult conversation when you have a tyrant, so, or rather a government in place. So let's try to focus on low-hanging fruits that may require all of us. The hashtag of Meg Whitman was a good one. We achieved something. The win of Donald Trump was good for us. As much as we don't know how his presidency is, but we know there's going to be a dynamic, drastic shift on how they deal with the Ruto administration. The issues require talking about the three families or the four families of the Uhurus, the Rutos, the Railas. Those are political cousins. I've said it here, I've even posted in the comments. These are political cousins. They are in birds of a feather. They operate together. It is just about interest. They can shift tables any other time. Let us try to think of how we can create a new dawn in Kenya with new set of leaders. And if we need to campaign drastically, for example, tutakula pesa yako, tutavotia maskini, or we want even to be as nasty as a war between the poor and the rich as a narrative, let it be. If it's going to help us in this movement, tuseme tutachagua waizi wetu, because four waizis have been stealing for us for 40 years. Now is that time for new thieves. So be it. I'm trying to say that let's be as open as possible on a narrative that will require the masses and will captivate very well and easily and simply with a majority. But those are technical issues that may require processes that are oversighted by this government. We might also be wasting a lot of time. We have seen it in the courts. We have seen the case of, I don't support Gachagua, how it went. We have seen the cases of the finance bill. We have seen Omtata's fights in court. We are not saying we are not going to stop, but we know very well that is skewed negatively against us. So as much as we're brainstorming, let's try to brainstorming on what is it. And the idea can be as stupid as it can, but it can be effective because we are using unconventional methods to remove a conventional government or a tyrant. So I rest there, but I hope I'm clear on that submission, Calvin.
Mr. Lyson, thank you so much for that submission. You're talking about working and not working, two categories, and hopefully our speakers and the rest of the team, listeners can be able to chip in more stuff or their ideas of how they think about these situations. Liona, what was his name? Mzalendo alikuwa ameinua mkono and then amepotea. Sijui kama ako karibu. Mzalendo kauko kwa listeners, come back in and we'll give you a chance. At this moment naona Daria ameinua mkono, so Daria, pick the mic.
Hi, I just wanted to add a little bit na Lyson, what he was saying. I think the online thing needs to be, if like anybody is tweeting like back or responding to something that they're seeing, it's not effective when you just write just a comment. Tweet those organizations. Tweet the undersecretary, the ones that keep on coming to Kenya, whatever issue that is affecting. Add in the UN watch group, human rights watch groups, the African Union, and you see Raila under it. If you see me let's say, if you go to my things, when I respond to things, whether it be femicide, whatever it is, I go in and I try to, not even my comments, leave, because already the story that has been posted speaks for itself. But make sure all these, when you're tweeting all these organizations, you take your time and you just, at this point for me, I have it that I can copy and paste it depending on what situation that I am dealing with. So that makes it easier and it's more effective that way, because when you just write a comment, it doesn't get to them. But if constantly they are bombarded, that they're being, like put on a tweet, it's showing up on their notification, they cannot. So the more of us that are able to tweet in that manner, as much as people might call us keyboard warriors, the message is getting across. Kwa hii movement, I think tuna also kuwa very realistic. Na hapo ndipo mali tunakosea kabisa. We are not realistic. And we keep on trying to approach them using the law, using the constitution. But we've seen over and over again, like how many times does it have to be proven to us that we are just doing busy work? Even with these petitions, we're just doing busy work. Because they're still going. The court has been bought. Parliament has been bought. Everybody has been bought. So, ile siku zenye tutafika tuseme tumeenda underground, ni ile siku sisi tutaweza kuwapiga. Unless something miracle happens between now and then, because hiyo kiti atatoka peacefully. So I wish hii movement yetu tunaweza anza kudirect our vision in a different way. I really truly would like we attack them on different levels and truly not on the spaces. Because sisi ndio wenye watu kama mimi, yes, I might have a little freedom, but you know what? Hata huku ukisikia uko majuu, you think he doesn't have enough money to send somebody to come here and get any one of us? I don't know if you people are familiar, the family that was killed in the US, and even up to today, nobody has ever been brought to justice. So what wanafaa kuwa to just a little bit familiar with who we are dealing with, na realize the severity and the seriousness, especially that story of the Ugandan guy that even the US is acknowledging. I would add for most of you, because Kenyans, what they did was completely wrong. And mukifind your post, muna make sure the International Criminal Court umeongeza hapo, umewasisi. The US government umewasisi, because even them, they're also in with the story. The African, like, kila mtu. Don't even start with your comments. Now just people tweet and tweet smart is my main message. That is it. Let me not repeat myself too much. Thank you so much, Fabish, Brogy, nice to see you. It's been a while. And thank you, everybody else.
I know, right, Daria. It has been a while. And you're right. This is, I like the points where we retreat and then we include other organizations like human rights, and Lyson talked about that. These are great points. We keep on fighting. So one thing, if you don't mind, you guys, can you repost this space on your timelines? That way, you'll be able to attract more people to come in and talk. But kama unasikiza kwa listeners, omba mic. Please, you're welcome to talk. Tupatie points, tuambie what is working and what is not working. Hakuna time limit right now. As far as I know, you grab a mic, ongea kama dakika 10, you talk. Make some good points. Let's have a conversation, a dialogue, and hopefully get more points. So, Lyson ukumina mkono, unless you have something to talk.
I was giving Daria 100, but anyway, ikafinya mkono, but it's okay. What I can just add as well on that point, guys, let's not lose hope. We cannot lose hope. What will our children do? Genz who have died, what will it mean to them? That they just went there, offered themselves, and then the cowards in us, we took off because we are thinking. By the way, some of us know Ruto in person. He's a coward, I can tell you. That's why he surrounds himself with fools. like Farouk Kibet and Sudis. You know, people who can give him some courage. These things you're doing are shaking him to the core. The moment you see a president addressing the nation with snipers on the roof of KICC and other places, and with a private chopper, his own private chopper, hovering Nairobi, you have made your point. He's shaken. He's a coward. It just requires consistency. What is working is those of you who are good in spaces, continue hosting. Those of us who don't believe in going to the street, sawa, wachana na mambo ya street. Those who can believe that they can be able to do changes through katibas, the laws, or whatever, let's continue bubanding. This game does not have a formula, and nobody should lie to you. It's a question of our sovereignty. We are here to fight for our country and good governance, and we can do anything that will work and break away this government, let it be, including whatever propaganda you can come up with. Yeah. So we are in a political warfare where there are no rules per se, and nobody should come here to sell the fear that it is impossible to remove Ruto. Those who believe it's impossible to remove Ruto, they are better as well just accept and keep off, discouraging the rest, or just DM the speakers and give your points, or be part of the other side of the oppressor. But in terms of correcting each other, it's very healthy. We have good conversation, but in a loving way, like comrades, because comrades, as you fight, there are bound to be mistakes. There are bound to be many judgment issues, or they're bound to be feeling that someone probably is betraying and is not. So those things should be ironed out, but it should not stick so much time. Like today, we have wasted 5 hours, almost 4 hours, fighting personalities and making it personal. Let's try to come with the points on what we can liberate our country. Those that can work, we do now, short term, long term, and mid-range. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lyson. Nicholas, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Now, I appreciate submissions by Lyson, and actually, if somebody was following my conversation, I wasn't trying to discourage anybody from believing that Ruto is removable. But I want us to, like Daria said, focus on the correct thing that can make us get a step ahead with this. And I have 3 suggestions. The first one, I've just said that we should start questioning the loose ends in the Constitution 2010 that gives the executive and the presidency so much powers that they do anything they want with our money and the powers vested on them. It might not mean that we can change the Constitution overnight or within a week or a month or a year, but if we need to do anything positive towards the laws that govern this country, towards making them work better for us, be formulated in a manner that helps the Kenyans, we have to start that conversation right now. We have to make everybody in power know that whatever gives them the excess power that they are abusing is displeasing us. Along the way, everything must always begin by a conversation. We must show the commitment and the will, and we have to make noise about it, that there are loose clauses in the Constitution that are not working for us. We have to start talking about that right away. Number 2, if we need to remove tyranny of power in this country, we must start by using our spaces to lay the positive message about voting correctly and voting wisely. We must, every one of us, take the lead in using your X, using your YouTube channel, using your Facebook channel, using any social media channel you have, and talking to your groupings. Nelson have talked with, some of us have a group of influencers, wherever you are from, the estate, the village, whichever, the town, the city, you have a group of 10 friends, 100 friends, or maybe you lead a church, you lead a point in the church, you have a group of 100 people to influence, start the conversation against tribal voting pattern. Start the conversation against voting based on those who can give the best handouts, those who can give the best offers in terms of monetary bribes during the campaigns. We must start by creating sanity in this country so that by the time we need to vote out tyranny, no one will get back into the tribal cocoon of thinking to vote somebody just because he's a fellow Nandi, vote somebody just because he's a fellow Q, or is a Kamba, or because their man, so they say, is aligned in so and so kind of a party, kind of a coalition. No. If we need to remove tyranny, we have to start the correct conversations right now by any form of influences that we need. And that is why, personally, I have been against focusing on personalities. Anyone who have been listening to me in the previous spaces, I have been against focusing on personalities. Let us focus on policies of governance. And let us focus on bringing a bill into the judiciary and empowering the judiciary. As we speak, the judiciary still depends on the allocation of funds from the executive. It means that if the president wants to frustrate the judiciary, he will cut down their budget. Why? Because the constitution gives him the power to do that. Why are empowered to allocate funds into any arm of government not bestowed upon the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to do it? I mean, these are the things we need to talk about. We need to make the country know that there are particular things that displeases us, particular things that will make even a good person end up be a bad leader when given power, because we are humans. And human nature is that when given an authority that's unchecked, an authority, if you give a man a blank check, what do you expect him to do? He'll write a considerable figure today, tomorrow he'll write a bigger figure. The next day, before you realize it, he'll write erroneous figures on the check because you have empowered him to do that. So can we start having the correct conversations towards the things that we need to get done? That is only my prayer. That's only my plea. Thank you.
Mr. Nicholas, let me ask you this quick question. Perhaps you talked about it, but there was a little bit of background noise. Sabia Toi, those are great feature, but so tell me what is not working as far as us, being on space, like Mr. Lyson Kwanasema. So can you just briefly tell us maybe 2 or 3 points, what is not working with our revolution right now?
I'm back. I went out to shut down the noise. Children were having their happy times. So, first, what I've seen not working is us complaining about personalities. It does not work, friends. It does not work. We have managed to shake the government, throw away the finance bill because we are focusing on the finance bill. We have made enough noise about the Adani, and the government has thrown it away because we are focusing on that public-private partnership that was so opaque to us. We have been making enough noise about SHA and about the new funding model of the university, and somehow it made a breakthrough because the president came out to start explaining something by himself. It means that whenever we are focusing on a particular policy issue, we score. But provided we start focusing on this person bad, this person wants to lose, this person must vote, personalities, that is not working, guys. Focusing on persons is not working. Focusing on Ruto himself will not work. Will not work. Focusing on Gachaga, focusing on Kidiki will not work. Let us focus on particular policies that we need not to go by. I think that's the only thing I'm trying to say. Anytime we focus on a particular issue that is tangible, we score. Anytime we focus on so and so, Mulima, what, this, what, we lose it. We lose it. The moment we focus on starting targeting a particular individual instead of particular policies that can change things, then I think we lose it. Like as somebody has just confessed, that the entire 4 hours in the afternoon were wasted because people are focusing on talking about personalities. To me, it does not help. Let us talk about policies and let us give the country. I want us to start dating this conversation out of this space into other spaces. Like if you look at my Facebook account, Wadi Nicholas, it cannot go a week before I post something related to policy and related to how we are voting. Before I express my feeling on how we vote, on how we take policy, on how, let us start educating the public. Let us take it upon ourselves to educate the public about governance, about policies, enlighten them, and about how we can start voting outside the tribal mentality and outside the handout mentality, and vote in competent and learned leaders. That is a conversation we can start with. We can do public education through that, civic education through that, through whichever means of influence we can. Then we can start focusing also on policies and the law and the constitution moving forward. Focusing on personalities does not work, in my view. Somebody might have a different opinion about that, but that's what I see. From wherever day we started this business of putting government into check upon ourselves, anytime we have ever focused on a particular issue that is policy, we always score. Anytime that we focus on Ruto and his deputy and so and so and so and so, and Raila and whatever, we get relevant. We get relevant. I don't know whether it's missing it that way, but that's what I do see. That's why I'm against focusing on people. Let us focus on things that are serious, things that are policy, matters policy. Because when a policy is put in place, it is there for quite a long time before somebody thinks of changing it. So those are the things we should check on. That's my feeling.
All right, Mr. Nicholas, thank you. Yep, I agree with you 100%. Complaining about personalities. As much as we are open-minded about who comes on space, talk about almost anything, everything, but sometimes it depends where, what space, what is being people are talking about. But at the same time, you know, wasting time and listening, trying to correct people how they should be able to talk on space, and it's just a downer. Okay, at this moment, I see we have some listeners on here that I'd like to recognize. Kunar KK, Wanjiru, I think I've heard you before. Jides, and then kuna Zing Sensei. Again, feel free to grab a mic or a speaker to talk. Okay. If I may chip in right now, because naona kuna mtu ambaye anaomba speaker. One thing about creating these narratives, whether they're right or wrong, whatever, incorrect and all that, I think they do work. They do work, seriously. Because one time in Monai, I saw this video, garis napita kwa potholes just like flying, Jogoo Road, and I saw that, and then I didn't pay even attention to like what was going in the background, like license plate, registration, is on Magari. I'm like, okay, this gotta be somebody tweeted. I'm like, Jogoo Road. I'm like, bam. I retweeted on my line, and then a few hours later, somebody from transportation department from Kenya was like, okay, this is not Kenya. Pay attention to what like do some tarara. You know how it usually goes. But I was glad that they were able to come up and try to defend themselves, like Jogoo Road, Ikosawa, and all that. We all know we are Kenyans. Najua. We've seen the bridges. We've seen the bridges whereby like you on foot, like even ukitembea kwa bridge is like gari kipita at such a high speed is like the wind can just move you and you are likely to fall into that into the water or the river. So so the narrative, we'll get creative, and I'm telling you as Kenyans, like it's working right now. Since your maandamano about ilianza 25th mpaka saa hizi, I can almost guarantee you that Ruto halali usingizi. yeah, so it's working. It may not be seen like openly in public, but this guy does not sleep at night. So he's wondering what's going to happen next. Even though he got all the machinery, got people to kill citizens, Wandamandaba and all that, but I'm telling you, he is not one guy that does not sleep at night. So yeah, so creative narrative. Ikipita kwa time yako, repost and include other human organizations that are fighting for human rights. Okay, so do my check Japonja bado uko. Anybody else? Let's see, Nicholas ameshaongea, so if there's anybody else on here, come up, grab a mic. While we still wait, one thing I've been asking myself, we want this change. How do we do it? I mean, we just like IBC, we want people to go, the right people to go in there, and I've been learning from this space from these spaces that no one is not an angel. So no matter who we vote for, there's always something going on, something that was done that, people talked about Matiangi, and now I'm seeing left, right, what he did not do. But the question is, I always must ask myself, like, when we vote for any individual to go in there, like, how do we change that? Because we want change. I mean, we have ideology right now going on, good governance and all that stuff. But even if we voted for somebody to get in there and change, is one person enough? Like, how do you even get the IBC to work? Sabara kama ni mtu mmoja, tuseme mtu mmoja, say we vote for Lyson, aingie huko hivyo, and then akishaingia as a president, like, obviously we have other bad eggs in the government. Like, is this something going to take? How long will this take? I ask those questions. So please feel free if you have anything to speak about or try to respond to that. Please grab a mic. Thank you. Mic check. Japon Juko. Host, Fabish.
Hey, Fabish. Hey, all. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Just give me 2 minutes, then I'll be able to speak. Give me 2 minutes.
Okay, not a problem. Okay, I see kuna Mweru. If it is the one Mweru that I know, that I've listened to, if you have a chance, come on time, you're welcome to talk. Again, for the new listeners on here, we're looking for things that are working and not working. There's stuff we've been doing online that have been working. Alafu kuna zile mambo ambayo tulikuwa tukifanya online, and those things are not working. So we are expanding that list. Tunaona list hapa hivi. While we still wait, one other thing is I really like this. When we go in space and talk like this, it is a great thing. It's a good thing. We talk about this. Kenyans, this is what we do. We talk. And you guys have no idea what is this doing to the world, to other countries. I don't know if you guys follow, like, these people that, believe in access, conscious world, and a lot is gone. People are talking about Kenya right now, and evidently there's some, whatever is happening in Kenya right now. Also in the outside world, people are talking about, economy, Bitcoins and different kind of currencies going on. So it's like something, it may be seen like this is some small talks we're doing right now online, but there's a bigger impact. And 10 years down the line, people will ask, California, what do we do? So like one of our speakers mentioned, as much as we're being keyboard warriors, but also we talk about this stuff. The more we talk about it, and then we find ideas, what we did, what we did not do, and then we work from there. So this is a good thing. So maybe perhaps to, if I may ask this question, talking about, how people move around. And I've seen the videos where we have these members of parliament, senators stopping traffic, wakienda job asubuhi ama jioni, they just decide to stop everything. Is this happening like everywhere? I know CPD, I've seen the videos, but is this happening, at county levels, outside Nairobi? If anybody knows about that, can let us know. Also the roads. Wanasema njia zinatengenezwa and everything is fine. At your local levels, how are the roads looking? Somebody talk about that.
Rolji, manze, mi hata sijakuja kuchangia mjadala, nimekuja kuwasalimia na sema Rolji.
RKK, karibu.
Asante. Nimekuja kuwasalimia and Fabish and Japo and everyone else and kuwapongeza for the good job you're doing. It's going miles and sometimes you might not realize, but ukiona kitu kama hiyo ya JKI imedropiwa, then it means tunafanya kazi si bure and kupongeza kila mmoja, hata wenye hawaongeangi wako kwa Twitter wana repost, wanafanya nini, it goes a mile. So yeah, tujikazeni and the fight is not yet over and tujitie nguvu. Yeah, tujitie nguvu na tutiane nguvu. People are going through a lot, depressions, pressure, stress, nini. Yeah, talking to someone means a lot. Just knowing that mtu yuko poa, knowing that mtu ni mzima. Kuna watu wengi sana wako, they are going through a lot in silence and tuongeleshaneni, tujulianeni tu hali. Tujue watu wako poa, wanaendeleaje. Just that. It's just saying hi goes far, okay? Yeah, it's nilikuwa nakuja kuwasalimia, mimi sina mengi.
So RKK, that was even more than greetings. Ilikuwa more than salam. So yeah, little by little goes a long way. I agree. Naona Mwero amepanda kwa speaker, so anytime usichatu usiinue mkono, just talk. Hasa kuongea. So
morning. Here it's early in the morning. So morning, I just woke up and I was like, I've been thinking a lot about this Adani news. I see that's not the subject for today, but I honestly have to sort of say what I was saying. I posted a long post this morning because as much as we are celebrating this news of Adani being indicted and Ruto canceling the deal, which to me, I honestly received that with so much skepticism. Until we have proof that he's actually canceled these deals, honestly, I don't. As for me, I believe they're not canceled and they're not going to be canceled. He's going to come up with some conniving way of sneaking everything in again, like we know it's his pattern. So let's not celebrate too soon. As a matter of fact, we should become more vigilant because, yeah, I mean, we already know how he operates. He lies every single day. So him canceling Adani, if it's true, then good news. But receive it as a lie, just like with everything else he says. But I mean, in regards to this, the election day, this is what I was talking about in September, in October, that we need to be also paying and focusing attention to the upcoming election. And I remember I even counted how many days we had. Now we are down to 985 days to go to the 2027 election. So we need to start operating from a place of urgency. Because as much as we want to remove Ruto and vote in new people, we have already realized that we need to replace the MPs. We need to replace some of the senators after we saw what happened with Gachagua. We now realize that all of them are just, they're useless. They have no business being in office. So what are we doing about it? Are we identifying people amongst us who can be MPs that we need to nurture? What are we exactly doing about this? Because like I said, we have 985 days to go. Personally, standing here today, I foresee a situation where Ruto is going to win. Because we really have not started building and creating a candidate that is causing a very major wow effect on people that they will vote for him. And I hope, I mean, it's not even a matter of agreeing with me. I'm just sort of brainstorming what the outcome will be. For instance, I'll give an example. The Trump campaign is not a campaign that was created in 1 year. This is not something they created that they came up with and strategized in 2024, the year of the election. This is something they have been working on for months, for years. So we need to start doing that. We need to start working on the 2027 election. We need to start working on our candidates. And maybe it's happening behind the scenes because I'm only aware of maybe 2 people who are actively pursuing positions and have actively started immersing themselves in the communities where they want to be elected. But that's still not enough. We need more people in office, and we have to come up with a mechanism where we support them and nurture them. But as it stands today, who has the movement produced? I know I saw Morara saying he wants to run, but who are the people who are running for MPs and all these other positions that we've identified? We've been talking about IDs and IABC. Maybe that needs to be the next initiative that we take up on. We now have evidence that online activism is actually really, really working. I feel like it's actually working at this moment and having more effect compared to going on the streets where they're just basically just arresting people. So maybe we need to have a week, maybe next week, where we dedicate online activism towards ideas or something. We identify something and do that. Time is not on our side here. As a matter of fact, when people say that the election is a long way to go, what do you mean a long way to go? Do you understand what it takes or what entails building a campaign and getting a candidate elected? It's something that calls for a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of calculating and a lot of strategizing. So I think this should be the next thing that we start working on. Yes, during this time, we're still pursuing ways to get Ruto out of office or disqualified from the ballot, which I feel like we can achieve. But in regards to this whole election in 2027, I'm honestly, frankly, very, very worried. Very worried. I'm starting to really worry because I don't feel like there's any urgency amongst us. And especially in the movement, there's no urgency to start working on this actively. I'm just going to listen for now. I sort of arrange my thoughts because I do have a lot to say, but I have to sort of organize it. Otherwise, I'm just going to be just giving a word salad here.
Okay, not a problem. Hold on, Japonji. So yeah, well, since you mentioned it's 985 days left until next election, that's not a lot. So so yeah, this is a matter of urgency, and but so here's the thing. One thing about elections is the last moment. Like, even if you pursue like 90% of the general population to vote against Ruto, there's always that last moment. Like, especially the villagers, people in the villages, like on Ogopa, better. There's this saying that usually goes around, like, for that, better the devil that you know. These people, the old people in the villages, may get scared. Like, are we voting for somebody new? We don't know him. So that's the one thing that I'm just putting out there. Maybe people talk about it. Like, no matter how much you are prepared, and then if you get time and mission, then we have people changing their mind at the last minute. But also, in addition to that, there's also the idea of, trying to find a way of getting enough signatures. Maybe these people that are in the parliament, these politicians, be able to impeach them out. We are hoping that this is something that I'm just trying to bring out here and be able to talk about. Is anybody be able to, are you guys talking? It's like I cannot hear anybody.
No,
You lost.
I thought you were speaking and you just maybe fell off. But I mean, I see what you're saying and I agree with you. And that's why I'm insisting. This is the time to start building rapport in the villages. If there are people here that want to run in their respective villages, it's better people start familiar. And I understand there's also a security element. But believe me, there are people who are already doing it in respective counties where they want to be elected, who are millennials and Gen Zs. I know of two. And it's going to take time to get these people to get to know you, the villagers who are the voters, to get to know you and become comfortable with you. So that is why I'm saying the sooner we start with, hey, I want to run and I want to run for this place, and you might not feel safe publicly disclosing, then you can start engaging in those respective counties, so people get to know you, people are familiar with you, you start building a rapport, you start building credibility with them, they start familiarizing themselves with you, versus waiting until 2027 where you spring up as a new face whom they're not familiar with.
I agree. Yeah. So Mweru Sendembali, please speak a panel because we have more points to talk about. Japonji, go ahead.
Roll, hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so we have 29 listeners now on the space, and I had something I wanted to share with everyone here. There is currently a voting going on in the world. I shared on my profile about the most corrupt person of 2024, and we are trying to share that out. And if you can vote, please, you know who to vote for. Please vote for the most corrupt person of the year as Mr. Must Go. It's there. It's organized crime and corruption index. So please just do your due diligence. And I hope you will also do your part. 32 listeners. I'm counting on those 32 votes as we keep widening and sharing up. Okay, that's aside. So I've had Mweru. Mweru, how are you doing? It's been long. Mweru, you're talking about yes. I totally agree with you, but sometimes let's be realistic a little bit. I wish everyone could afford to vie for any parliamentary seat. You know, when I talk about affording, I mean, like, if you look at the logistics of even trying to reach out to the county level, I mean reaching out to people, civic education only, most youths who we expect to go for those seats, they can barely afford even like to get three meals per day, you know. So my suggestion will be, can we have something like a kitty? Once we have everything in line, everything formed, we can have something like a financial kitty whereby we try to sponsor our own for the seats that interest them. You know, we should be able to make progress. As I said before to Fabish also, see, Gen Z movement, the purpose of Gen Z movement, uh, the initial purpose was to get rid of finance bill. We can't use the same method, you know, to reach our goals, you know, like going forward. You know, it achieved its purpose up to that point. You know, we need to think, to strategize again. We need to think outside the box. You know, the small wins we are making. You know, for example, if we really need to get rid of Ruto, what's the next move that we should be doing now, apart from the elections for 2027, which most of you will agree with me that Ruto is the IBC, is the judiciary, and is everything. Uh, most, forgive me, but most people are hopeless on that thing. So my solution will be, let's be ready for anything. I feel like there's something boiling down the carpet, and the faster we start pushing for unitary hashtags and work in unity, for like we collect the remnants of all the movements, speak one voice, put our personalities aside. For example, if we decide to push for like the next few weeks, we push against this Taifa care, you know, like let's go back to NHIF. It's not working, you know, let's not force it, you know, if we can come up with one hashtag to push for this, then it will make some sense, you know. Let's have that unity of purpose. We push something. Sometimes I hate to go to spaces whereby we speak about the same things in all spaces but divided. And I think if we going by what's on the spaces, if that's how it's going to be in election, I think Ruto will just emerge winner at 8 a.m. because it's a divide tactic. Assuming we have like 5 presidential candidates, assuming, and then we divide our votes against those selected presidential candidates. Then the other side we don't even have to do a lot of campaigning; they will win easily, and that's a fact, you know. So, what is it that is preventing all the like-minded Gen Z and the people who are against it to come together? That's what we should be addressing. Why is it that we cannot bring everyone on board? You know, what are these differences? Why are we on personality attack? You know, like why do we have to do this? You know, can we come together as one family, united by the urge of getting rid of Ruto, and then we move forward from there? You know, I've been trying. Even every time I'm in space, I've tried to reach out and send links to other people who are not in space, try to bring them in. I've always done that, you know, because I try to assume or imagine that if we had all those people with the same voice, you know, the people with the same goal, same purpose, same motive, then we will be making bigger steps, you know. And 2027 is not far. Ruto campaigned for 8 years. That guy is known to the grassroots. We need to think fast. We need to come up with at least 4 or 5 presidential candidates. Then we take them through the process of eliminating or selecting. And then we need to start moving from there. Look what the other side did. When someone just gave out information that Matiang'i was interested in becoming a presidential candidate, which I don't even know if it's fake news, because there was no video or Matiang'i himself confirming that, then what happened? As we speak, there have been now 4 cases against Matiang'i in the court, you know. That's the system we are dealing with. It's there. There are live cases there. The government has reopened the files against him, and that's what they're planning on. They want to get rid of our candidates one by one. We name them, you know, but we should not be coming out and naming our preferred candidates as I speak. Personally, I would bet on Maraga if if he stood up to be a presidential candidate, I will be picking people like Maraga and Okiya Mtata, of course. Those are because they align with my ideology and our motive of getting rid of, and they've been on the front line towards this revolution, So that's what I would. But everyone needs to make the informed choice. Then let the candidates come together, and then that's the way to go. Otherwise, we'll find ourselves out of time, out of reality, and then it will down on us that we still have 5 more years of this guy. I cannot survive 5 more years of this guy. Thank you so much. I'll be listening. Thanks.
Japonji, thank you for that submission. Naona host ameingia, but before host anainua mkono, so there's Effie. Before Effie ongee, Japonji, ulikuwa unaongea kuhusu your Paul. The most corrupt people in Kenya ama in the whole world. If it is possible, able repost. Weke kwa Jumbotron, then go ahead.
Okay. Let me do that.
Yeah. Well, and please make sure that the Nabi Ruto is one of them, because I'm gonna find it hard to vote if Ruto is not part of it. So yeah. Okay, Effie, go ahead. And then a host Chukwe.
What's up, bro? How you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm good, bro. I just wanted to touch on a few things that my bro, Japo spoke about, and he literally just took some words out of my mouth. Yeah, we really need to start planning as early as possible, because 2027 is not too far away, and we need to really have a game plan, which we don't really have. And for me, I would suggest, if we ever find somebody, we need to find somebody who's not been involved with these people before, because we can't be using the same people who got us in this mess to try to get us out, we need to find somebody who they have no interaction earlier, who they had not interacted with earlier, somebody from nowhere, And I feel like somebody like what just said, the former CJ, Maraga, and Okiya. Although for me, Okiya is not really a presidential kind of guy, because I always feel like he's not really able to express himself very well. But he would be suitable for speaker or some other good position in the government where he can bring more change and maybe bring bills that actually pass laws that actually help the country in one way or the other. So the problem right now is in the same politics, a day is a very, very long time, because a lot can change. So we have almost 900 days before the next general elections. We don't have an IEBC. We can't even hold credible elections right now. The people who we want to remove from these seats are the guys who are supposed to actually get us commissioners to run the IEBC. So we find ourselves in a little bit of a quagmire, an impasse, where we want to remove these guys, but for us to remove them, we need for them to set up a commission for IEBC, and that's going to be really tough. But I don't know. I'm really hoping that one way or the other we get the commissions in place in good time, because as you all understand, there are some constituencies right now without members of parliament, and I really think that is very shitty as a country, that, there are people who are not represented in parliament. We don't even know if the CDF committees in their respective constituencies are still working. We don't know if bursaries are being disbanded to the right people. And if they are, who is actually responsible for this? Who is answerable for this in case something bad happens? In case money intended for development of the constituency or money intended for bursaries is not given to the people that it's supposed to go to, who are we going to call in these constituencies? The other day, an MCA died, and I can assure you guys they're not going to be a by-election anytime soon, because who is going to run the by-election? So technically, some people would argue that the same IEBC that made Kindiki, they approved him as suitable to be the deputy president, is the same one that should run the by-election that But I know Parliament will never allow it because that will also give us another loophole to recall them and use that IABC to do a by-election in almost all the constituencies. So we're in a bit of a tricky place, and I'm really hoping that one way or the other, I don't really know all the law jargons, but one way or the other, we can find ourselves in a place where we are able to hold another free and fair election. For me, I would hope that we do a lot of civic education and as much as we can, because a lot of people don't really know what they expect from the government. They just want the price of hunger to go down. And it becomes a little bit tricky because, the economy is just not just about hunger. We cannot be gauging our whole economy with the price of hunger. I mean, I understand it's a staple food of home of Kenya and we eat it a lot, but we can't really be saying, yo, angalia, economy iko sawa. And you ask somebody, can you prove it to me that economy iko sawa? Angalia bei ya unga. Even like really learned people, that is literally that's how they quote that the economy of the country is doing well. Not everybody eats unga, and I really wish that there's a lot of civic education down there, that people understand what rights they have, what the roles of their MPs are, what their work is, representation and oversight of committees and all that, how much they earn actually, because MPs in this country earn a lot of money. And I really hope that we drain the swamp at the end of the day, because Ruto must go is not enough. Everybody's got to go, bro. Everybody's got to go. They are all corrupt to the core. From the president all the way to the sub-chief, everybody is corrupt in that country. Everybody get a little power and they just go nuts. They just want to do whatever they want to do. Nobody's going to stop them. The courts have been compromised. The parliament is compromised. The Senate is compromised. You see what they did with the deputy president the other day. Yeah, so like I'm saying, the only thing we have right now is our voices, online activism, and hopefully our votes. And I'm really hoping our votes count, because stealing election in Kenya is not a new thing. People have done it before. Chances of them doing it one more time are very high. We need to be very, very vigilant. So we just need to find new ways, man. And I know Fabish has always been trying to get people together, KOT and all the rest. Like, let's have one voice, let's speak in one voice. But as I said, some people get a little power in their head, and I got a lot of followers on Twitter, and I can do whatever I want. It's only my opinion that counts. Somebody says something else again what I'm saying, then I'm out of there. I don't want to be part of that group or movement anymore. It's becoming very tough for us to move with one voice. So I would really hope that one way or the other, we all find a common ground, which is Ruto must go, and that we all trying to bring change in the country. Because I know everybody, some people are going home for this festive season, and you're gonna be shocked how effed up that country is. It really is. Like, there are a lot of poor people who don't have even meals, and you got an MP earning almost 1.2 million bob, plus yet the allowances and all that. It is crazy, So I'm really hoping that it's not just on the spaces, that we are gonna do something about it. And the ones in the diaspora, we can help where we can, whether it's financially or whether it's buying material for civil education. I think people are ready for that, All right, thank you very much.
Hey, Effie, before you go, great submission. So you talk about civil education. Like, I'm kind of undivided when it comes to that. People in the village, you tell me, what kind of life are they going through right now, not realize the country's going through like it's a shithole? Excuse my language.
Yeah, bro.
Like what? Like, you talk about civic education. It's fine. People gotta learn the law. Not the law. They learn about, we have a constitution, their rights. Just to give an example, like, a cop is not supposed to arrest you without a warrant. If you come over, it's fine. But at this moment, if the kids are disappearing, watu wanapotea, you cannot find, you cannot even like account. Watu walichomeka kwa some kind of boarding school. You cannot account as a government. What happened in Quarry? I'm not trying to start some shit up, but that thing just gets me like, I usually think 2027 in Bali, sana. Like something needs. Go ahead.
My G, 2027 looks very far. It feels very far for me too. I would have hoped actually that Ruto would have just said yesterday, you know what, I've tried my best. I'm unable to do this. I'm going to tender my resignation as fast as possible. But those are just pipe dreams, and we know they will never happen. I want to talk about civic education is very important because with it, that even people in Ushago and all that, they would really understand their rights and they know the questions. You realize most Kenyans don't actually think they pay taxes. They don't know if they pay taxes because the majority of Kenyans are in the informal sector. So it's very hard for them to actually quantify how much taxes they paid. What they don't really understand is that they pay taxes indirectly, like from products they use every day, like milk, bread, eggs, cooking oil, gas, and all that stuff. People who drive cars, they pay through the fuel tax levy and all that. So you gotta tell them that kama hakungekuwa na taxes, hii mkate ungenunua 10 bob, for instance. But because of the added taxes that are imposed on tariffs and all that, and all this bread, that's why you're buying this bread that's expensive. That for me is civic education, you understand? And you tell them, look, there's supposed to be free education in these countries. Nobody can really tell me here why we have CDF when we have free education. Why do you need to dish out bursaries when the education should be free in this country? You understand what I'm saying? That for me is civic education. So they will ask themselves, why did I vote for this guy or this woman when he isn't doing what it's supposed to do? Why do I have to go line up for 2 or 3 hours just to get 2,000 for bursary? I have never understood that. So for me, civic education is more enlightening these people that, you should demand for more because it is your right. It's not favors. Nobody's doing you a favor here to build that road. Nobody's doing you a favor for your child to go to school. Nobody's doing you a favor for your health center right at home or your level 5 hospital that has all the equipments, modern equipments. Nobody's doing you a favor. You have earned that. It is your right. That is civic education for me. Okay. So that when you go vote, you vote for somebody who's actually having the work done, or at least has a way to have the work done. Because you should not forget, the politicians in Kenya are very, very clever. They will always say the sweetest things. I will do this, I will do that, I will do this, I will do that. You know how Ruto got in the government. He came with the hustler movement and, he tricked everybody. Now, the hustlers are the ones crying. The dynasties, the one he keeps on saying about, he's trying to join them. He want to be like him.
So, in addition to that, I think there's a group of people that needs also civic education. We're talking about universities of Kenya, the higher education organization. Like, I'm thinking they failed. Back days, I don't know how old you are, but millennials, we know when something was going on with the government, Kenya Poly, Nairobi University, like they went on the street.
I'm old enough to remember that. Yeah, I know. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
So do you think these lecturers, we have emerging issues in the society. If something is going on and you educate these kids, in a room somewhere and educate them and empower them, and now they can be able not enough to realize that things are bad. Before, like like while I was in Kenya, something was going on with the government. You hear it, like it's bad. It doesn't go too far. Like 1 month, maybe tops. Kids on the street, and then the government now knows like, hey, you know what? This is not cool. Like, let's back up a little bit. But right now, like, where are these universities? Where are these lecturers? And now they don't get paid. So
you see what they did with Moi University. There was this vice chancellor that was actually appointed for this university a while ago, and Sudi and one of his minions, they went and they were like, no, we gotta have someone from our region. This region university's gotta have somebody from the Kalenjin communities. And it didn't even go more than 5-6 years. That university it's going in insolvency. That the nigga they put there has stolen so much money They couldn't even pay women who wash dishes in that, the cleaners of the university. That is how much effed up it is. And you were talking about how I remember the times of Kenya Poly on Haile Selassie Avenue. They would just close up the whole street, and it's bring so much drama until the government actually listens to them. But you will find that these days, we are lacking a lot of patriotism in Kenya, and everybody's got a price, bro. Everybody's got a price. And some of these people we've put up there, like the student presidents, they are so cheap. They just, they just bought very fast, and it's becoming very tough right now. You just saw yesterday Ruto saying that the Adani deals are cancelled. And these minions just stand up to clap. Like, they were not just praising Adani like 24 hours ago, talking and saying how Adani is such a good company and it is not corrupt and all that. So it becomes, it becomes very tough to fight for people who are also still fighting. Unaenda 10 steps ahead, then somebody pulls you another 20 steps behind. Progress inakuwa a little bit slow, and you're not really able to get yourself where you want to be. So yeah, I think we're safe. We are facing a very big uphill task, and we can only do it when we do it together. I think that's my opinion on that.
Great. Thank you, Effie. All right, before you go, welcome to stay around and speaker panel. What is not working online for us? Like, as far as just maybe one point to be able to put across how we've been doing things. Because we've been making a list of what is working and not working. So what is not working for us?
I think the problem is, online activism is good, but it has made people think that their opinion is the only thing that matters. Because I have 20,000 followers and you have 3 followers, I got more sway than you. What I say goes. You're not, you don't want to listen to my opinion. And, it becomes very hard for you and I to sit down and talk when you're already looking down on me before we even begin a conversation. It becomes very tough. And, I used to tell people that the movement is good, it's organic, but we should also look at the possibilities. If Ruto doesn't die, for instance, or doesn't resign, we need to go political now. At some point, we gotta go political. And that's where people like Morara came up and all that. And, what happened to Morara. They really, really fought Morara. Although Morara came out too early, I felt like, his timing was really bad. But the problem I think we're facing now, ni kiburi. Just, people just need to put their pride down, fight for the country, you can raise your kiburi baadaye when you've saved the country. But for now, just, listen to the experts, people who know what they're talking about. Also listen to people who are not experts. They might have good opinions on anything. They might see things differently than you. And we're gonna move forward. But you have the big wigs. You have Osoro or Hanifa, Boniface Mwangi, and Akina KOT, Akina Cyprian, Akina Amerix. Everybody's trying to go. Everybody's trying to trend. Everybody's trying to get engagement. And everybody's just throwing words everywhere. There's not that one common voice. The only common voice everybody has right now is Ruto must go. But nobody's talking about how. Because, my G, I can tell you for free, we are never going back to the streets again. We had that one chance. Ruto is the kind of guy, if you aim, you gotta make sure you take the shot once and for all. You don't miss. It's one shot, one kill kind of guy. And we missed that opportunity. I want you to tell me, has ever been another Mandamano that has been as effective as the one for the June 25th? And there will probably never be, because even the people who organized that Mandamano, the people who influenced, not organized, rather influenced, They are all on different spectrums. We are There's not that common voice that we had. Ruto must go, finance bill must go. We don't have that anymore. Everybody is trying to be relevant in their own messed up way, and that is where we're losing the plot. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, Mr. Afi, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, bro.
So listeners, I see we have new people, listeners in the house. Kioti Sonko, welcome, Karibu. I saw your work, one of your videos about Buhungu Stadium. It's messed up, but great job. I would just like to recognize that job. So again, anybody else who's on, we have new listeners too, please feel free. Up if you are to Bagui, if you have 3 followers, 1 follower. If you don't have any follower, please, Omba Speaker talk. And see how we can be able to move this country forward. Host, Baroko.
Yes, Rolji. Baroniko. Yeah.
Karibu.
Asante. Thanks a lot. Let's continue talking. I can see Mweru, our sister, Effie, Keoti, and everyone. Ambao tuko hapa. Yes, I see also Justice. You know, Rolji, when we are talking of the possible people who have found themselves as a possible presidential candidate, we should not forget our comrade here, Justice Juma. He come from, I think, Truth and Justice Party of Kenya. Yes, he's also one of the people that they are fronting themselves. Is a young generation. So, and I think we should encourage them to position themselves and be able to articulate, so that as we are talking of removing Ruto and the alternative leadership, as our good brother Efi put earlier on, which I want to agree with him that yes, even as we are removing Ruto, definitely we will need alternative leadership because the country have to be governed. And then, concerning the common grounds of winning.
Hold on, Fabish, can you, umesema Justice nani or Justice, let me see, Justice Juma, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm following, I'm started following him, guys. Someone like Justice, and I'm following him. So if you can be able to follow him, please follow him, and that when he pops up on the radar, we start following these people, and when they talk, we listen.
And just only to say, because I know maybe later you will come to the speaker, he's actually one of people that they have, is fighting for this country. Even as he's on this space, he's carrying about 4 bullets in his stomach that he was shot at during one of the mandamanos, but God is so kind that he survived and he's still strong, and he's not swayed, he's not given up, he has not by the fear. He has still high. He still have high spirit, and he have ambition. So these are the kind of people that, in my opinion, I think they have sacrificed for this country as young as he is, and maybe at some point if he position himself, and of course we need to be considering this kind of a fresh leadership. So like what our good brother Efi was saying, that yes, of course, everyone is talking about, William Ruto must go. But it's like sometimes we talk on different ground of course, we can remove Ruto without even having a common grounds. There are people that are doing civic education. Like my good brother Keoti is doing civic education, both qua ground and online. And many other people are doing civic education in different places. Our sister here, Mweru, you saw how she fought for this Adani. Kwanza Mweru, get your flowers. Congratulations, you and everyone. Akina Tony, because without you, hata si ati kwamba Ruto just aliotoa because someone was indicted. if this thing was silent and nothing was done at home, you ulikuwa umesikia vile nani alikuwa anasema Uzito Pio and I, that whatever happened in the US cannot affect what is happening in the country, you know. So, but William Ruto knew very well that automatically, even if he keep on holding, then the judiciary, they have to use that precedence of the US. So he must have been informed very well, and that is why he took that decision. Not that he wanted to, or it was out of goodwill, but he was trying to protect his face and hide his shame. So thank you so much, everyone. So you see, everyone is fighting from different perspectives, different angles. Akina Mweru and the rest, they decided kwamba they are taking it head on. And you see, they have won it. And how we are now celebrating how they fight it in a different way. So, yes, as we are fighting Ruto, we fight them, you know, from different dimensions. Wale ambao wanajua kuhusu laws, waendelee kusukuma mahali ambao wanaweza kusukuma, as corrupt as judiciary is. It is, but you know, tukisukuma kesi 10, at least maybe 2-3 zitaponyoka, zikaenda vizuri. And then wale tunapigana kwa streets, tuendelee kupigana kwa streets, maanake streets pia inasaidia kupile pressure, and of course giving a different image to international community, and they keep also piling pressure. That is the importance of us going to the street. Not just we are going because it is our fun. No, remember when you go to the street, it gives different impression. So hata Ruto akitaka kwenda kudanganya na kule, lakini people are saying that, you know, the country haiko sawa. So then civic education, of course, it is also very important, because even as you are saying that we will need alternative leadership, people have to be educated to know exactly how the good governance is supposed to work, what to expect from a good democracy, what to expect from good leadership. So education also is paramount, even when it comes to the voting, because we have seen even the problem that we are having today is out of lack of proper civic education, because people have just been going to vote. They don't know why they are voting. That is why someone is given 200 bob and is ready to vote for 5 years, 200 shillings, some even 50 shillings, and they will vote for someone. But they don't know the implication that they will get for that 5 years. So civic education is very important. And only that what I've been advocating is, even as we are doing civic education, it has to be structured, not just doing it blindly. It has to be structured where it is monitored, it is evaluated, you know, and you know, you can see the outcome. So like it has even to have, like, you know, some kind of well structured. We know what exactly do we need to educate the society. Not every object ambao Ruto anatupa ndio tunasema kwamba tunaenda kufanya civic education. We need to select the items, and then after we select, civic education does not need even 3 months or 4 months. We can even do it in 1 week or even lesser. We just need to identify people from 1,460 wards across the country. Then tuwalete Nairobi wote, tukuje tuweke some kind of workshop. Political parties are doing this, and even sometimes their numbers are more, sometimes even reach 5,000, 10,000, and they bring them together. So our own, even we can just go for that, the smaller number, the minimum, 1,460, that is one representative from every ward. Then now, we have like induction, maybe 3 days. Kama tutakuwa na town hall wapi, ambao tumekodisha. So, when we have now our items put together, so even the civic education will be uniform across the country. Manake sasa, these educators now, they will go back to their wards. Tunasema, okay, we are going to take this program from Monday to Thursday. So whatever is taught in Mandera, it is the same ambao inafundishwa wapi? Kisumu. Let's say about the health, about SHA. So wale watu wanaambiwa Mandera, Monday, ni education ya SHA. Ni the same wale wanaambiwa Kakamega. Then tukimaliza hiyo, items per item. And then these people, they will be giving report. That is a good way of monitoring and evaluating. So tunajua kwamba we have covered 1,460 words, and the report and the reaction of the people. They'll be videoing everything and sending to the, to the coordinating teams. Then from there now, at least we know that we already occupy even from the grounds. And then now, so ile siku hata tunasema kwamba, okay, maybe we need to do action, or maybe we need to do this. Now, we can do it very flexible because tuko katika grassroots, every corner of the country. That is a proper way to do that structured civic education, rather than just doing blindly. Kwamba watu tu anaamka naenda Embu leo, naamka kesho naenda Kisumu, naamka naenda Lakini tukiweka hivyo to identify 1,460. From that 1,460, those are like peer educators. When they go to the awards level, each one will look for maybe 2 people, of which 2 people will look another 2 people. Like these people doing multi-marketing level, So those representatives, where we'll call them ward coordinators. Now, they will make sure that they get someone in every village. They get youth representative, giving them, teaching them, ile items later kutoka Nairobi. Wanapata chama ya wamama, who is the leader of chama mama hapo kwa hiyo village. Wanapata the farmers, kama kuna hiyo association ya farmers hapo. So we can be able to make these voices reach everywhere, every corner, and in a very shortest period possible. It is not difficult to get those representatives, those 1,460. That will be a good starting point of civic education. So now, like when we'll be having now like these spaces, then now we will be selecting issues that are very critical. Issues that are very, very critical to be consumed. And that we know it is important for people either that they require to understand this knowledge before they vote, or even maybe for mass action. So that is my thoughts, Raul G.
Fabish, may I say something? I do agree with some element of what you're saying, but I honestly think that we should not really overcomplicate things. If people need to emerge fast. So if, for instance, you want to run for MP, I'll give an example because, like I said, I'm familiar with 2 people who have decided they're going to vie for MP seats. And there's one that I really love his strategy. And he's connected with farmers and all. You have to sort of localize yourself. Localize yourself and let people be familiarized, to become familiar with you. And I'm talking from a place of, for instance, what we just witnessed with the United States election. I was personally involved in the election, to where I was talking to voters and trying to understand, how do you zero down to one single candidate? What influenced your choice? And most people who are independent, personally, I'm an independent voter here. Most people who are independent voters said the one thing that is really sort of an alarm or a setback for them is the fact that they're not familiar with Kamala Harris. They're not familiar with her. So they opted for Trump. Not even because of policy or issue, they opted for Trump. So my advice is, if you're here and you want to run for whatever position in government, which is what we're encouraging at this point, we might not get the president we want. And I am not even familiar or aware of even somebody like Okiya Omotata coming out and saying he wants to run for president. Maybe I missed it, but correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I haven't seen any posts by him saying that he's coming out and he is willing to be a candidate. So in the event he doesn't, and we're stuck with whom we're stuck, and it's not the person that we prefer that wins presidency, for instance, at least we have MPs in place, we have senators in place, we have people in place that represent our views and perspective and we align with, and they can be our allies or in government. So my proposition is, if you're here and you want to run for a seat, come out, and maybe as a movement, our responsibility at this point is building a sort of a cushion where we support them, even if it's financially. Because I mean, there's a speaker here who I agree with that people to campaign or to run for office calls for money. And I agree that majority of the people don't have the money. However, don't let that discourage you. Come out fast. I don't know. I know there's safety issues involved in coming out and saying you're campaigning for a seat in some places. But let's let people know, and we can all try to build a cushion around you and support you and nurture you and build you. And I don't know, because if we don't get the president we want, can we get a majority of MPs? Now that we know how powerful MPs are, sort of a scenario. The other thing I'm really cautious going forward is the generalization of people. I really do not want to generalize people, in the sense that we keep referring to people in the villages like they're less smarter than us. Yet, I mean, we cannot blame people from the villages. We cannot pin it on them that they're the ones that voted Ruto in. The entire country of voters who voted for Ruto came from all over, including Nairobi. So let's be cautious about generalizing people in the villages and assuming that they're less intelligent and they know less. No, my family lives in the village. These are people who are intelligent, who are educated, and they know what is happening. I talk to people, my neighbors in the village. They know what is happening. They know what's up. But we need to present to them other alternatives to vote for. And we need to start building rapport in the village who are people they know and they can get to familiarize themselves with, so they can elect them. But we cannot just say that civic education needs to be directed to a certain group of people. Even I need civic education. We're not better than them, and we don't know more than them. They know what is happening. It's just that you know that they're going to get out and vote, versus young people and the youth in the cities who majority of them did not even vote. So let's not generalize a whole group of people. No, they know what is happening. Economically speaking, I speak to some of them. They're like, university fees have gone, they have multiplied by 100%. And now the kids are in school and no lecturers are available to teach them. All these economic hardships, they're really striking everybody in general. I mean, I'm assuming, I don't live in Kenya, but I'm thinking that is the active situation. But we need to start actively pursuing giving them alternatives to vote for, versus the usual people who have been the perpetrators of all the issues that we're facing now. So, I mean, I do agree with a lot of what we're saying, but let's not overcomplicate it. I already know one person who is doing an incredible job in a certain location where he's not even from that tribe, and I sent him an invite to come and share his strategy on how he's doing it. And he doesn't even have a lot of money. So there are people who are already doing it who can share some insight on how to go about it.
So Mwero, real quick, you know the movement is about leaderless, tribalist. How do we deal with this? Because now if you try to make people, and I'm just asking because it's an open discussion, that, you know, this has been a thing, it has been an idea that we are fighting, we are leaderless, and I know a large group of people or Gen Zs, they will still want to be leaderless. How do we deal with that right now?
I mean, that is not where I am coming from today. I'm responding to the subject that is the topic on the space today. We are talking about the election. So if we're talking about the election, then that is where I am coming from. If there's a group in the movement that wants to remain leaderless, yeah, rightfully so. You have a right to do that. But still, there are people in the movement that want to pursue seats in political seats. So, okay. Are we not supposed to address that or even talk about that?
I'm just asking because this is again, like I said, this. Go ahead.
Like when people say the movement is leaderless and partyless, it's like we're trying to sort of make it sound like it's wrong for us to accept the fact that there are people in the movement that want to become political leaders. We shouldn't shun that too. We should work on that too and work with them.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I see we have Ras G in the house. Welcome to the speaker panel. And any other listeners that just joined us, welcome, karibuni. Feel free to grab a mic. Where we can go ahead if you had not finished. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it sounded like you were going to maliza. I'm going to endelea.
No, I'm done. I'm listening.
Okay. Razi, karibu. Okay. It looks like Razi is not off. Okay.
Hi, Rolling.
Hey, how's it going?
You good, Fabish? Now, I wanted a minute, yeah, so that I can prepare something. I thought Moiru would take long. I think Moiru can carry on as I write something, and then I think I'll come back. Just a minute, please.
Okay. Yeah, as I was, what I wanted to tell Mweru is, I think what I said is not target. When we talk of 1,460 words across the country, it covers everywhere from the cities to the villages. So what we are saying is, when we target each and every group for that education, because when you localize, exactly, I agree with you. That is now what we are saying. We are localizing it, because when you have someone from, let's say, this estate educating people that they understand from that estate, he can get to understand and they can get to understand. But for example, now, where you travel today, go to a village in Kilifi and go and call people there to give them civic education, first, they will first take a lot of time wanting first to understand who are you. And whatever even you are saying, they will first want to know what might be your intention. But if it is Raul G coming from that area, and now he's telling people, hey, look, see what I have learned, see how it is happening, see what the country is saying, see what is happening. They will not be taking that time wanting to understand who is Raul G, where is he heading, what is he looking for. So the best way to amplify this civic education is to localize it. And that's what I was saying, that if we get 1,460 people from all wards across the country, that they meet at a particular place and identify those critical issues that we should engage and educate our fellow countrymen and women, then we can be able to shorten the period of civic education, because that one we can do even for a period of 1 week, because we already got the things that we want to educate ourselves on. We have already picked those critical points. 1,460 people or more, they already discuss, have questions, have answers, and now it will be easier because they already do some kind of induction. So now then we go now to our localities to inject those the civic education. So that's what I was saying, but it's not saying that he's targeting a group or people from village. No, 1,460 words is all the words around the country. That is actually like people's assembly. So we pick each representative. Then that representative from the ward level can also go and have their own team to make sure that they go deeper, even in every village. That way they can cover. Then
Fabish.
Yes.
Fabish, what do you think of, we talk about these people at a local level. Can we just come up with names? I know as much as it's hard, we find people that are dedicated, that they know what they're going to be facing, the risk and all that. Start coming up with names. Kama ni Kakamega, kama ni Kisumu, kama ni Bungoma, like some names. Put them on a list somewhere, just to try to publicize that, and people have the idea. That way, hey, we got something going on, and maybe possibly going to be able to have more people trying to, hey, I want to be part of this. I want to be number 2, number 3. And because we keep on talking about people coming up and we don't do something about it. Like, you mentioned one of them is on here. I don't know if he's still on here. So list and then put it in public and then move on. Like, what do you think of that idea?
Yeah, it's a good idea, but I think when KOT have time, he will come to the. KOT is working on a good project. He has been very active in the civic education, and now he's working on a good project that I believe that maybe when he come here, he will update as much. And of course, because he has been the one that is very active on the ground, perhaps he can be able to give us more ideas also about that. But also that what you are saying also, yeah, is good. Like kind of zoning is also okay. Agree.
I also see somebody like Mongi. I know KOT has publicly come out and said he wants to run for MP. There's also somebody else here. Mongi, if you can come to the mic and tell us how you're strategizing and doing your thing too. But Fabish, it's not you I was referring to. There's somebody that was saying that we need to have civic education with people in Mashinani. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm glad you clarified. Thank you.
Okay. Fabish.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Before you start, let me say this. Let me say this. I'm gonna be going to the listeners. It has been great co-hosting. I'm still listening. I'm gonna be still listening to you guys and taking some notes. And then I may come up later on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you for your time. Continue listening. When you are done, you can come back. Go ahead, Rasji.
Thank you, my friend Fabish. Thank you so much. First, let me acknowledge and appreciate everybody. I know it has been some time. It's been a while. It's been a while since we interacted. Fabish, Rawlings, Mweru, KOT, Consider Clan, Lason, and many others who have been very persistent with our struggle and with the activities of the movement. And it feels so nice to sometimes take a bit of some time and just observe situation and make contribution using other ways. When I say other ways, there are also other ways of channeling your efforts towards achieving a better country. And at this particular time, I think it's very much important for me to acknowledge people who have been on the forefront in calling out Adani issue, and whether we are sure or not so sure whether the whole thing has been withdrawn, but at least we have made an impact. We have made a point which has eventually paid. I know many people, Fabish, other speakers, KOT, there are people who spend sleepless nights trending these hashtags, educating the masses, preaching this gospel. Mufunga hapo mama. Namjua niko naongea, please. Sitaki kelele, ambie mami sitaki kelele. So we spend a lot of time talking, educating our people, which is very important. Now at least imeonesha these efforts, they don't go to waste. And if we can continue doing this, then at least we can have a guaranteed future to our children, to our future generation. So to secure discouraged. So it is it is everybody mwenye ako hapa na mtu yote hata amekuwa amekitake time analog to spaces listening to these conversations. It is your contribution, it is your flower. You should feel encouraging that you should feel encouraged that you are contributing and you are aspiring for a better country than what we have today. Secondly, I also wish to appreciate the individuals who went to court, particularly on this matter. A very, 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 very important journey. And I'm talking of the likes of Nelson and others. And I don't think we've really achieved the logical conclusion on this matter. And it is my wish that watapeleka, wataendelea, because we all understand our president. We all know Zakayo. He's very good with words, very sweet with words. He's not even ashamed. He can stand on top of that. He can stand on the floor of parliament and say one thing, and the other moment he will mean something else. So it's very important that Nelson and the legal fraternity and anybody mwenye amekuwa in that front, especially the legal end, wajaribu kufuatilia na kuhakikisha it has been done on paper. It has been done on paper. And then the other observation also for us and for the people who really campaigned and for the people who really wished that Trump took office, I think at some point mimi naweza sema tunaanza kuona matokeo. And I know Ruto administration is going to have a very rough time with the Trump administration. And na mimi na believe nani haku. She just did not resign from the skies. It had something to do with Trump's administration coming into power. And it is also my wish that we can channel, we can continue petitioning the United States on what really happened to the country, on how we lost our comrades. We lost so many young people. We lost the kind of Wakina Rex and many young Kenyans who died. We had an issue like Kware, which was covered by the government to look like it was something that was done by an individual who was targeting women. No, we know all those cases. Those cases had nothing to do with those narrative. It all had to do with the finance bill. And since we had individuals in power who don't listen, they want to do things their way. They believe there are individuals in this country that believe once they get power, it is the opportunity to eat. There are so many things that have happened in this nation, Fabish, that we cannot say they are coincidences. They are not coincidences. These are things that had been planned by individuals in power. Even the death of one Francis Agola, it was not a coincidence. These are things that were planned, kitambo, by this very particular administration. So we should not be afraid. Let us continue speaking true to power. And let us, even as much as people like Mweru are encouraging others to go for political seats in this land, let us learn from the mistakes that these leaders or these politicians have done. Don't go to leadership because you want an opportunity to enrich, or you want an opportunity, it is a shortcut to wealth. No, don't view leadership in that front. View leadership as an opportunity to serve your fellow Kenyans and your